Hey guys, Thomas the Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Transformers Rise of the Beast. If you end up enjoying this full movie review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly. And fourth to my Discord server, where you can join, collab, and chill, and all that cool stuff. And Schilling will be reminded at the end of the review. With all that out of the way, let's get into Transformers Rise of the Beast. So I had seen the trailers for this a few times, and I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I was like, oh, whatever. I haven't seen like the previous two Transformers movies, I think, question mark? I kind of fell out of it. Considering how inconsistent its world building and just overall stories being repetitive and all that stuff is just kind of getting like, eh. So I was like, okay, let's see if they do anything different here. And let's dive right in. I'll just save you some time right off the bat and say that this movie in particular does feel like it's more of a reboot rather than a continuation due to how some of the characters act. I don't even know if it was promoted as a reboot. I'm gonna assume that this is either between the first movie and somehow I don't really know, or it's just again a reboot. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. Uh, Anyways, the movie begins with some narration from Optimus Prime. And he's talking about his home planet, and we see a little bit of that planet. We also get a glimpse of Unicron, this planet-destroying thing. And it needs to gain access to this Transwarp key, or aka our MacGuffin of the movie. So, Unicron sends one of his many bad guys, or one of three, I think, are in the movie, named Scourge, or they pronounce it Scourge, but I'm just gonna call him Scourge because that's how I pronounce it. Anyway, so we see that the animal robots come out, and we meet Optimus Primal, who's given the reins after Scourge fights off the Master off fairly easily. But the others escape with that part of the key. We then cut to 1994, which I'm pretty sure takes place before the first Transformers movie, question mark. I don't even remember when the first Transformers, in terms of its in-universe date of when it took place is actually in. But they make a lot of references to the early 1990s with our main character Noah and his younger brother referring to each other on the radio as Sonic and Tails, which is a vintage video game and its own franchise at this point. Tails, aka the younger brother, is Chris, and he seems to appear to have a swollen arm, or his arm has something going on with him that he needs to take, medicine or something rather. He has a friend, or a acquaintance rather, that's trying to fight good old capitalism by not buying into cable back in the 1990s. So, some things never changed, regardless of age. Some people, still trying to quote unquote fight capitalism, even though, they're all a part of it, more now, so more than probably ever before. Anyway, so We cut away to this other woman named Elena, who works at this museum, and she's sort of this, like she's like studies it, and this woman, Julian, takes credit for all the work that she's clearly putting forth here. But she comes across this small owl figurine with symbols on it. All the while, Noah is stopped by a few individuals, and after the fact, he meets with, because he's going towards a job interview, but his job got canceled, and the guy tells him that he doesn't know how to work well with a team eventually. He says a few things other almost to imply something else. So I'm not sure what that was going to be like. And we get more references to other things, like the little brother referring to Noah as a Superman of sorts. So man, this movie is just going off on all these other franchises that are, a part of the real world, I guess. Anyways, so he goes to the previous job offer once that one is not in the works. And he's told to go jump up a car, or steal a car, rather. Meanwhile, Elena's like hyping up, or attempting to hype up, the owl figure that she's been studying a little bit, and Julian puts it off to go party. So, both seeing that their work is being underappreciated, one not getting the job and the other not being appreciated for the work she's just uncovering now, they both simultaneously, and we're cutting back and forth between the two, are sneaking into their respective missions, that being Noah with the car, and that being Elena with studying this sculpture a lot more. As for Noah, he ends up inside a transformer. We see that symbol pretty early on. Meanwhile, Elena's statue breaks and shatters into this sort of fragment that sends a beam into the sky. So Optimus sees this light, and he calls it a beacon for them to go home. So he's rather keen on getting there. However, other things are happening, such as, Noah's trying to get into the car, he's trying to, move or get out. The car attempts to stop him as a guard gets there, and he's like, hey, what's going on over here? So, the transformer leaves with Noah in tow. Meanwhile, we have Frank, who is the co-worker guy. He leaves just the moment the police arrives. He don't want none of this. And during this chase, at least one police officer is guaranteed to have gotten killed by a train. Guaranteed, because they're like driving towards towards the camera, and the transformer passes by first, and we see the railroad tracks. And as soon as we see the cop following, we just see the cop car, or the train, just go boom and hit the train right in the middle, and it blows up. So those cops, I assume are plural, are dead. Getting people killed here. So not looking too good for the Transformers off the bat. That's like one of the first things we see happen with this parade of or escape or attempt of And as they continue to escape, we learn that this vehicle's name, this Transformer's name, is Mirage. He's able to copy himself and make clones of his vehicle and, well, of his namesake, make mirages, as it were. And he was a little bit sick of being hidden. So he meets up with the others, that being RC, once again Bumblebee, because Bumblebee's like still the most popular one, I think, other than Optimus Prime and Optimus Prime himself. But Mirage still has Noah with him and says that he will be good for the job. And he even offers to for Noah to sell him as a car, and then he will leave the planet. So he's giving Noah a little bit of, a little support there, As we get some narration from, or some exposition, I should rather say, from Optimus, saying that this was only supposed to be a pit stop. But at this point in time, which is why I'm not sure where this takes place in the timeline, is that Optimus does not yet trust humans. And after, the other previous however many Transformers movies there are, considering how many times they've worked with humans, it does come across as really weird, unless, again, of course, this somehow in the timeline comes before all of the previous Transformers movies, perhaps with the exception of Bumblebee, ? Because Bumblebee already makes a remark about having worked with a human once before, so did his movie? Again, I don't know what this movie is doing with the timeline or whatever. So the lights go out. Anyways, moving it along. And Noah gets into contact with Lena as he's making his way to the same building. And a new guard comes and the window explodes just as they're getting there, or about to try to deal with the key segment that she had. But she wants nothing to do with this anymore. So she hands the key over, but all the while outside, the first of many fights breaks out between our good Transformers and our bad ones. All the while, he helps out Elena and a little bit here. And we see that Mirage is looking out for Noah. But unfortunately, Scourge does a little bit of ass kicking on Optimus at the earlier stages of this, anyway. And Bumblebee gets hit, aka killed. And I'm gonna put that in quotes now, because obviously they're not. Come on, they don't have the bravery to kill off Bumblebee and have him stay dead by the end of the movie. The second I saw this happen, I'm like, they're gonna bring him back. There's no way they're gonna kill Bumblebee. This is, again, the big market character is no, there's no way, again. There's no way you're permanently killing Optimus, so there's no way you're permanently killing Bumblebee. Those are the two that these movies aren't allowed to kill, based off of that, capitalism. Speaking of capitalism, oh boy. So, yeah. So, we see them meet with the owl, the Transformer, called Eraser, or Eraser. Gives them more, and she exposits more information about how Unicron works and how he's a devourer of planets, and that they get lucky that they only get half, the bad guys only get half of the key. There's another part of this key segment Meanwhile, back when Noah returns back to his brother is exposed to Mirage, and Mirage makes sure that the brother knows, like, hey, I'm gonna look out for you, brother. And Noah's gonna get it ready to prep out because he wants to help. Uh, to help avoid the end of the world, he wants to destroy this key, while Optimus wants to use it to get home. So we have a little bit of a difference in perspective of our humans versus what our Autobots want currently. So Noah takes the lead as they start to use some disguises. And the bad guys use these smaller robots to try to catch these two, Elena and Noah, that is. While they're opening up in this little area, they go towards this little mini puzzle, and once they finish it, this path opens up to this underground cavern. So the two of them move deeper into this temple while the evil bots try to attack. Meanwhile, Erasure has their location on up from above and can scan them, I guess. Meanwhile, Noah was given this gauntlet-looking thing from Mirage that doubles up as a light source and a gun as they come in contact with these little critters, and he shoots one off. Unfortunately, during this little escapade, our second fight, Erasure gets hit directly by Scourge. And it seems to be eroding her, like, armor slash metallic body, I guess I'll call it. I guess the wing, like, hook part of it. Anyway, so we see that Optimus Primal returns, and as Mirage gets ready to defend Noah, more of these animal robot Transformers make their way out. We get the Tiger, as well as the Rhino, I think is the only other one that we see. Like, there's like 3 or 4 of them. Ben and Primal shows them, mainly Optimus, that humans can be trusted, as they gave them the other half of this key. And it is Primal here who tells Optimus that there's more to humans than meets the eye. That has been like the Transformers, key catchphrase, like, since its inception. And I'm gonna be quite frank, I haven't seen the other Transformers movies in a while. Did they ever use that line in any of the other movies? I don't know. I feel like the first one might have, but again, it's been way too long. I simply don't remember. Anyway, moving right along, back to the plotting and storing here. As Noah is looking at his situation, Elena tells him that he's not too off or being different from Prime, Optimus Prime, that is. And then she checks on the owl, who has been overtaken by Scourge. That mark that he had left was spreading. We see little glimpses of that, and now she's in tow with the enemy. So Noah is given at least that part of the key, and our enemies come in. And Noah is getting prepared to destroy the key, but Prime stops him. And Elena scoops up the key, but then is taken. So During this little scuffle, Primal stops the erasure for good. Uh, but Scourge returns. And during this time, or like during his escape, Prime opens up to Noah about why, he is the way he is, and that uh, a little bit after this, we learn that there is a code that can diffuse the two key parts from opening this gate to our big bad. But Elena has the code on her anyway, for now. So Prime says he'll die fighting. And with Primal at his side, the two leaders say the iconic line of "Roll out" as they prepare for the ultimate war. Noah is picked up as we make our way across. And during their little mission, our ending mission, Noah and Elena are like in this little underground like tunnel that's gonna lead them right to the key thing. And then we see Mirage cover for Noah, and then cover him in this transformer armor, and this allows Noah to transform based off of Mirage's armor. And I know there was a joke. I just saw it in a video about them mocking it, about it being like very much like Iron Man. However, this is actually a Transformers thing, I will say too, and I'm talking about the early whenever Transformers came out. Like in the early cartoons, there was an example of a man in a Transformers like suit. That did exist in the cartoon, the original cartoon, so it's not exactly from Iron Man. At least, maybe you could say maybe more so the design might, aesthetically, might look a closer look to it, but whatever, it's still something that is canon to Transformers early stuff. And to be quite frank, I'm actually surprised it did take them this long to do this, actually, considering. Unless they did it before and I didn't see the movie that they did it in. I don't know, I could be wrong. Anyway. So Elena continues to work her way towards the terminal that will close the gate. And the team is not looking so hot as these little robots are coming through. Scourge is turning the shift on the battle. However, just as things are looking the darkest, the grimmest, and I can't believe I have to use this term, because it's been a long time since this term has actually been accurate to a movie. A literal Deus Ex Machina. I am not joking, yes. The actual correct usage of Deus Ex Machina is used in this movie. I kid you not. You see, for those of you who don't know, I love to always inform people what that means, because I know some people they don't do the whole review talk stuff. Deus Ex Machina, for those who don't know, means end of machine. What that means in a movie is that towards strictly the end of the movie, end of machine, is that a machine-like thing will come in and help save the day without any setup prior to it. That is literally the use of Deus Ex Machina. How it's used here is that we see a plane that somehow picked up Bumblebee. Bumblebee is alive, by the way, at this point, because energy stuff. Um, this plane, though, that wasn't set up, just has him in the plane, flying over this location when he wasn't in this, when they weren't in this location before, so there was no setup to this. It's just they arrive on this plane that's here, the plane being a machine, and Bumblebee himself also being a machine. So it's like, I don't know, double Deus Ex Machina? I don't know how you did this movie, but you found a way to double Deus Ex Machina. Um, so yeah, that's a first, I think. I could be wrong, um, but So Bumblebee turns the tide right back around. Speaking and turning the tides right around, Optimus Prime is going ham on Scourge. And during this whole skirmish, Prime says he will stay behind while having everyone else retreat because the whole gate thing is like wrecked because everyone was like sort of near that area. And just as the evil is opening, the evil portal is opening and the evil source is opening, he says he'll offer anything to Prime, and then Prime says, then die. uh, you know, I can't help but chuckle and be like, yeah, that's something Optimus Prime be do. But Prime is not so fortunate as the portal, as it's closing, is like sucking him up. And then Noah, being in the Transformers suit, but small, and with an axe, like hooks onto Primal and like hooks down, keeping in mind that Optimus Prime is like quadruple his size and like, I don't know, I would assume that Optimus Prime would weigh more than that suit could possibly carry, but here we are with Noah just holding him in place, almost. But this allows them just enough time for Primal to enter for the third assist, and for them to pull out as the portal fully closes. And once it does, Prime, we get his narration about how this world, now that they're stuck here, that they're going to protect it with the humans and so on and so forth. Then we cut to our first end of the credits sort of setup here, where Noah is at a job interview, because the movie earlier on was like, hell, he's struggling with a job interview, and the guy seems to be like talking as if he's like a normal job interviewer, at least at the initial port, but at some point he starts to say certain information that has Noah second guessing who this guy even is. And he hands over this card and lets Noah see this full operation into this. And this is apparently a collaboration with G.I. Joe, another toy company that made a show in the early same year time frame. So that's an interesting collaboration, I suppose. I'm not sure where that's gonna go necessarily, but here we are with G.I. Joe collaborating with Transformers now. But then we get another post-cut secondary sort of ending here where we're back with Noah again, but this time he's at the workshop, so at some point later on, and he's with his previous friend, quote unquote, the guy who left him. They're working on the car shop, and he's like, oh, why don't you sell the car? It looks like garbage, and it's like a pretty beat up looking car. And then he's like, hey, Mirage, come on out, or whatever. He says something along those lines, and Mirage reveals himself to this guy, and that's where the movie truly, fully ends. and that was Transformers Rise of the Beast. Like I said, this movie, in terms of trying to figure out the lore of Transformers at this point, is something I think anyone in even the Transformers fan base would shrug and be like, I don't know. I really don't know what they're doing at this point with that. I don't know when this takes place in the timeline. Uh, I suppose the human bits weren't annoying necessarily. They were, fine. Um, the action set pieces were bombastic to say the least. So, like, and you could see some of the action, which is, I remember one of the other Transformers movie, I forget which one it is, where you can barely see it. Um, but there's definitely a lot of moving pieces here. Um, in terms of, like, every time there's a battle sequence in particular. So there's that going on. Um, so it's, rather on the basic side. And I'm like, I guess that was okay. You know, at the end of the day, I suppose I'd give that a 5 out of 10. It's just sort of in the middle. It's like, it was fine, I guess. And that's my full review of Transformers Rise of the Beast. If you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. I want to head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers, so get to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me. In the fourth one, we'll head you over to my Discord, where you can join, collab, and chill. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.